Hi everyone, this is Suraj and welcome to the welcome webinar for the Rapid Leverage Forum. Aaron and I are really glad you decided to join the forum, and we look forward to getting to know you better over the coming days, weeks, months and years. This webinar is an introduction to the forum to tell you a little bit about why we launched the forum, what it's all about, and how you can use it to benefit your business in the best way. So before we get started and tell you why we created the forum, I think it's really important for you to get to know us a little bit better and find out our backgrounds and where we're coming from. So Aaron, are you on the call, buddy?
Yeah, sure am. How are we going, Suraj?
Yeah, very good, very good, very good. Aaron, do you want to tell our new members a little bit about yourself and give them a bit of background on where you're coming from and what you're up to and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've got quite an interesting story when you sort of think about where I am now and where I was 7 or 8 years ago. I left school around 17, dropped out, and had nothing to do during the day. And eventually I saw some advertising come up for the Air Force to become a helicopter mechanic. So I knew nothing about mechanics or even the Air Force at that time. And this is back in New Zealand, for those that can't tell my accent. And what I did is I went ahead and joined up the Air Force and learned and trained as a helicopter mechanic, and actually stayed in there for the next 8 years. And it was during this time I actually started buying business books, mainly in property. And I also went and did a business degree in management and accounting. So I was sort of very lost at those stages in my life with regards to where I was going. The Air Force was great, a lot of good trips, a lot of good friends, and perfect if you don't really have any sort of goals or ambitions that you actually know what you want to do at that age. So I just went forward and started learning, reading, and just really getting a better understanding of how business works. So by the time I was 21, I'd been in the Air Force for 3.5 years, and I bought my first property. And over the next 2 years, I bought 5 properties and finished my business degree. And I really started to understand that business was where I wanted to be. It wasn't rocket science to me. You had $10,000, which we trade in New Zealand, and you invest that into property and you get leverage to a whole lot more money. And if you're clever with how you do it, you can do well. So I went ahead and bought 5 properties over the next couple of years, and then got sent to East Timor. And East Timor was in Southeast Asia, and I was sent there with a couple of helicopters to do some peacekeeping. And it was actually during this time that one of my properties went vacant, and so I actually had to try and rent it out. So I'm in Southeast Asia. My now wife, who was back then, was struggling, and I rang up some local agencies, and no one was doing a good job at renting properties. So like always, the answer to that solution is start one up yourself. So when I went back to New Zealand, I started up a property letting agency. We call them property management companies back in New Zealand. And I decided to quit the Air Force. So this was in the end of 2008, start of 2009. And I started up a property management agency. And you're actually probably wondering how this all leads into internet marketing, because we're not even talking about websites, search engine optimization, social media or anything yet. So that all comes into it sort of over the next few months. In the start of 2009, when I set up this letting agency, I got a website created, and I asked a few questions with regards to how to get it ranked in Google. I didn't know much more than that about Google at the time, except that's where I went to do my searches. So I assumed that's where other people went to do their searches. And over the next 2 months, I started to implement some search engine optimization techniques into my website, and they started to get rankings. And all the local rankings came in to #1 on the first page of Google. And it was from there that I really started to understand the power of having a website and having it ranked online and utilizing internet marketing strategies. In March, I then, a couple months after I got married to my wife Kate, I came over to the UK. And it sort of took a backwards turn again, because when I got over here, no one wanted to hire someone from New Zealand, even though I had letting agency experience, I had business startup experience. There was none of that UK experience that a lot of the companies were looking for. So I went back to the tools and actually jumped back on the trains in London. And it was during this time that I started to think again, where is this all going? You've gotten out of the Air Force so you can get into business, you go traveling, and now you're back on the tools again. So I was really sort of going backwards, and it wasn't where I wanted to go. And it was over the next few months, over 2009 and then 2010, I started to really think about getting into internet marketing, learning different strategies. I still had half ownership in the company back in New Zealand, which I still do today. And it was running nicely in the background, but I needed something extra. And this was when I found you, Suraj, and we did a bit of training with you inside a class for search engine optimization.
Yeah.
And our relationship really grew from there. And it really has just gone nuts over the last 6 to 12 months, going from, working 12-hour days, dirty hands, working on trains, to now sort of getting up when I want, just selecting the clients that I like, creating all these internet marketing strategies for them to make more money for them online, like I do for myself, and that's where Rapid Leverage has come from.
Brilliant. I think it's a good story, because you essentially got into internet marketing not by mistake, but almost by necessity for your property management company. And I guess by seeing the success for that one company, you could see the potential in using internet marketing for other people and for other types of businesses. And that's that's a very entrepreneurial way of thinking, where you figured something out with one company, and you think, how can I apply this to different companies over and over again? And that's the typical entrepreneurial way of thinking. So yeah, it's a very interesting story you've had. And I remember when we first met some time ago at one of my workshops, and you were keen to learn stuff and implement new things, and that's what you need in internet marketing to make it work. You just need to have that drive and that, I guess, the desire to get results as soon as possible. So yeah, it's a brilliant story. The fact that you've got all this technical background, as well as the property and the more business background as well. So I really believe, and this is from a couple of books that I've read. Everything happens, for a reason. And now, when you look back at your life, you can connect the dots, and everything ultimately leads back to what you're doing today. And in a weird sort of way, it just makes sense. All of those dots that you connect, you think, yeah, there was a reason why I did that, which led me to this, which led me to that, and ultimately that's where I am today. And it's a strange kind of realization.
It is, definitely. And what I really love about the story of where I've come from and what I've done over the last 8 years, with really internet marketing only playing a part in the last 6 to 12 months, is that when I run workshops now, I have no issues telling people to give them the confidence when we go around introducing ourselves and talking about who we are and what we've done. People are amazed to see that, I only started learning internet marketing 6 to 12 months ago. And you're running these workshops with 10 to 20 people in them who have been doing, say, different sort of strategies on their own business for 2 to 5 years. And it just goes to show that if you are committed and you are passionate and you want to learn new strategies and techniques and implement them, the sky's the limit. You really can achieve success as fast as you want it. And sadly for some, it can be really slow. But that is why Rapid Leverage, it's all about just cranking it up and getting the right information out there quicker.
Absolutely.
So, since that's obviously where I've come from, I'd like to know a bit more about what you've done, where you've come from, and exactly how your internet marketing strategy and business came about. Because I did actually read somewhere that you actually were doing bits and pieces as young as 13 or 14 years old, but didn't actually really start doing it full time for over a decade later.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's a funny old story. I'll tell you about it. I was a geeky or a nerdy kid, right? You can imagine really thick glasses from the NHS, nothing too attractive, really sort of a geeky teenager who was really interested in computers and technology and all this sort of stuff. So I wasn't really too different to what I am now. I'm still into all of that sort of stuff. But I got into websites essentially when I was, I don't know, sort of 15 or 13 and 14 years old. And I used to always wonder how people make websites and who's, like, what is a website? Where does it sit essentially? How does it show up on my computer? Where is it? Is there a specific place that websites live? So I was really curious, and I think that's what sparked it all off when I was a teenager. Is, ferocious curiosity that I just needed to know why things were. I was the kind of kid that used to dismantle my toys to figure out what's going on inside. Why does it do this if I press this button? And then obviously I could never put it back together, so I ruined them. But that was curiosity that really got me involved in internet marketing as a kid. And I used to make websites when I was a teenager, instead of doing my homework from school, building really crappy websites, if I'm honest with you, about football and pop stars and celebrities and all these random topics. And every now and then I used to update them with the latest information about that football team or about that celebrity or the pop star, which is what today we call blogging, constantly updating a website about a specific topic. And I used to monetize it using a Barnes & Noble affiliate widget, which is essentially an online bookstore before Amazon became really big. And I used to put books for sale on my website related to the topic of the website, and sometimes not even related, which is really bad. But for example, on my football website, I used to update it every weekend with the latest football scores, pretending that millions and millions of people around the world were looking or relying on my website to get the latest football scores. They weren't, but it was a good. When you're 15 years old, you'll believe whatever you tell yourself. And I monetized it with affiliate widgets on the side for books books about celebrities, books about football, and sometimes random stuff like books on like recipe books and really things that weren't related, which are not good now. But back then, 10, 12 years ago, they worked. And I used to make affiliate commissions when I was a teenager, and it was brilliant because I used to get these checks in the post for in US dollars and not really know what the hell to do with them, if I'm completely honest with you. And I never banked them or cashed them because I didn't get it. I was doing all of this stuff, but I didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't know it had a name, didn't know it had a definition. I didn't know it was a business. I was a kid, right? So I just sort of stashed these checks in my room and did nothing with them. So over the years as a teenager, I probably threw away essentially hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars in commissions just because I didn't know what to do with a US dollar check, because I realized it's a different currency and I wasn't wise enough to think, well, I can take it to the bank and deposit it in my account. And because I didn't want my parents to find out that I wasn't doing my homework but I was actually building websites and messing about on the internet, I didn't tell them about the checks and all this stuff that I was receiving. So it was at the time seemed like a bit of a hobby, but now I look back and I connect the dots and I think, wow, I've been doing this for a long time and it all makes sense now. So that's how I got started initially. When I grew up a little bit, I went to university and studied law at uni, went down the traditional education route because that seemed like the safe and the secure option. And that was quite a cultural thing as well. So I went away to university, got qualified as a lawyer, studied in New York for a little while, worked in corporate law here in London for a couple of years. It was okay. I mean, I was good at what I did because that was my job, but I didn't have a passion for it, and that was a deal breaker for me. I got bored relatively easily. Within 2 years, to get bored of your career is a very short space of time. But it's because I didn't have that passion. I didn't want to wake up on Monday morning and get into work. And then I think that's what you really need to make anything work for you, whether it's a business or a career or a job or whatever it might be. And within those 2 years of working in corporate law and I mean, don't get me wrong, there was perks to the job, as there are, city lawyer. I was earning a good pay already, so there was incentives to stay, but there wasn't quite enough for me, and it was the passion that was holding me back, or the lack of passion that was holding me back. So whilst I was working, I started a small franchise. I bought a franchise, a very small local business directory in London, and I got that going. And within a year, I sort of outsold every other franchisee in the history of that company. And I thought, hang on a second, I don't need the franchise anymore because I can do this by myself. And so I used the franchise initially to get my foot on the ladder in real business. I was about 22 by then. And when you look back, you'd say, well, actually, I've been doing business since I was a kid, but I just didn't realize what I was doing, and it wasn't really all official or anything. So my official business I started when I was 22, at the same time as working in my job in the city, and that took off really, really well. And within a few months, I had to sort of make a decision to say whether I'm going to carry on doing my business part-time and working full-time, or am I going to try my hand at this business lark full-time and give it a go. What's the worst that could happen, right? So I was quite lucky that it coincided with some cutbacks in my firm, and rather than being made redundant, I decided to quit my job and try my hand at business full-time. And that was back in 2007, 2008. And, as I say, the rest is history. And from then, I started learning and reading everything I could get my hands on to really become knowledgeable about my industry and internet marketing in general. By this time, I'd left the franchise and started up my own branding because I didn't need the franchise to piggyback off anymore. And I started running seminars and workshops once I was comfortable with doing the strategies for myself and my own business. I started a blog, and it all sort of kicked off from there, So I could say that my background started off with very basic affiliate marketing. Then I got into real business after I quit my job. And one of the keys to my success is having lots of mentors and coaches around me who've been there and done it before. And myself being part of various forums where I can learn from other people and leverage their time, rather than having to learn everything myself and take much longer. I can just figure out what other people are doing and model them. And that's the value of me being a member of lots of forums. It's also great for networking, and I've networked around the UK and soon all around the world as well, because that's how I find my clients. I help local businesses get more clients from the internet, and a lot of that involves one-to-one and face-to-face training. So my networking contacts are a great source of referrals and clients for my business. So I'm very biased towards networking. Everyone should be networking. And as a result of all of that, it ultimately leads to a lot of public speaking all over the world. It leads to workshops and seminars that you can organize, and it's a very lucrative business, which is what everyone's in it for ultimately. But it's also very accommodating to what my passion is, and that's teaching and working with other people and helping them get more clients in their business. So that's sort of my background, and not as interesting as working in the Air Force, I've got to say. Being a lawyer is not quite as exciting as it looked on TV, or even working in the Air Force with helicopters. That's brilliant. So yeah, that's sort of my background, and I just wanted to share that with people so you know where I'm coming from, and now you know where Aaron is coming from as well. So I hope there's something there you can relate to, whether it's coming from a job or coming from a business background already. So that's just something that we wanted to put out there for you. But now,
and I think it's funny that you mention actually that passion is what stopped you being a lawyer, because a lot of people do ask me, they say being a helicopter mechanic, that must have been brilliant. You get to travel around the country, you go overseas, you did get a lot of perks being in the Air Force, but there was that one thing that was missing, and that you could never decide what you wanted to do at what time and whenever you wanted. And that was a massive drawback for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself being in the Air Force as a mechanic for 20 years to get to a certain progression in the ladder. I could quit the Air Force and be above the top progression within 24 months doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And that was the main driving force for me to actually give it up and do what I do now.
Brilliant. That's what it's all about. So Aaron, do you want to tell the listeners to this webinar a little bit about why we launched this forum and why we collaborated together? And essentially, why. People must be asking, why does this forum exist? Do you want to give them some ideas?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the reason that we've created this forum is, I remember you and I, we got together about 6 months ago, and we were having dinner one night just talking about internet marketing, and this was a long time ago before this actual idea came up. of Rapid Leverage. But we were saying we wanted somewhere for business owners to go where we could share our expertise, where they could learn from each other. But it had to be different to a free forum. You know, there's lots of free forums out there, but with free forums, you get a lot of information overload, you get a lot of self-promotion, and a lot of people start to get confused. So at the end of the day, those sorts of forums, they're great. They're a great entry base, but they don't actually let you excel into whatever you're trying to achieve. So essentially, you and I, what we wanted to do was create somewhere for people to come together. And it's not really even just a chit-chat. You know, we've got the fun section on the site, but it's where you can actually come and start learning and implementing strategies in your own business. And it was also a place where people could feel secure and safe and know that the advice that they're getting given or the advice that they're sharing with other people in the community is good, solid, friendly, and honest advice. And that was really important as well, because going back to that whole information overload, everyone's looking for the shiny objects these days. And to be honest, there aren't any. There really isn't. You've got to put the work in yourself. And so while Rapid Leverage, it won't make you a millionaire overnight. It may not bring you in any clients, but if you learn and you implement these strategies, it will happen. You know, you will start to pick up more business, and you will start to learn and adopt in your own, and you'll change the way you actually talk to your own clients. And, you know, this is what it's all about.
Absolutely. It makes you a bit more comfortable knowing that the information you're implementing into your business, or, for example, if you're a social media manager or an internet marketer, the information that you're implementing for your client's business, it's comforting to know that it's come from a reliable source and you haven't sort of just found it on a random blog on Google somewhere, and that's very, very important for your own integrity, and it leverages your time as well. You know, one of the big things for us is that there's no point in trying to learn everything yourself, because there's so much to learn. And you don't even need to know everything, but how do you know what's good and what's bad, and whether what you're learning is the right stuff? And this is where Rapid Leverage comes into it. And just by the definition of the name of the forum, you know, it's a place to leverage very quickly other people's experience, so you can go out there and start using it yourself. And it doesn't take you years and years and years like it took us to learn the same information. And it's the old adage, you know, learn from someone else's mistakes, and by all means learn from our mistakes, because we've made them all, and we're happy to share them so that you don't have to make those mistakes yourself.
Definitely. And I think it's also, you know, by getting everyone in there, not only are you leveraging off our own experience, our mistakes, but you're also leveraging off the whole community.
Yeah.
And that's really important to remember, because at the end of the day, you and I, we know a lot about the internet marketing strategies we've implemented and what industries we've put them into and how it can work for other businesses, but it's so much more powerful. Rather than having 2 of us in there, we've got 100 of us in there, or we've got 1,000 of us in there. Absolutely. And we're all contributing to the bigger picture. And ultimately, you know, this is an online forum. It's a closed forum just for the members, but it just works so nicely hand in hand with offline marketing, such as networking. And you're a big believer in the networking. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how networking has helped you, and how you think the two can relate to each other?
Well, you know, networking has helped me massively, because there's no other way I could have gotten in front of so many potential clients, and not just clients, but friends in business as well, and contacts who I can rely on, and suppliers in business. You know, when I need graphics done, or when I need stuff done, or I need someone to answer my calls, or a virtual assistant, or some printing, or some whatever it might be. That networking is not just good for finding clients, but it's absolutely brilliant for finding suppliers. And the way I think forums, or private forums like the Rapid Leverage forum, tie into networking is that when you're out there networking and people ask you questions about how to implement internet marketing strategies into your business, if you're an internet marketer, or if you're a social media person and you want to know how, someone asks you how to syndicate your content online, or if you're not an internet marketer or social media expert, you're just a business owner, it's great because you can use this as a networking opportunity as well. It's not just a forum that should be treated differently to your offline networking. It's the same thing online. It's just that we are spread all over the world, and you're networking with people with a wider reach and growing your network very quickly as well. The way I used to use private forums is, and I still do actually, not just used to, I still do, is when I go networking and I get questions asked, or I get a client emailing me a question or something that I don't quite know the answer of, rather than going and Googling it and finding random information, I go and ask the question in a reliable forum that I'm paying to be a member of, where I know I'm going to get expert advice, reliable information, support that I need. I'm not going to get self-promotion from people saying, oh, we can do it for you, we can do it for you. You know how it is on free forums. It's going to be real advice of people who are adding value. And you know what? It usually sparks some sort of discussion, which is great, because then I can go back to my client and say this, and this. And I've leveraged other people's knowledge experience rather than trying to learn it all myself. So that's how networking and the forum can really combine and very much be a powerful medium to advance your business with.
And I think it also, which you touched on, it lets you expand your skills, your resources, and everything else that you're offering to your current clients. And that's really important. I say it all the time to my current clients is, you're offering X at the moment. You don't offer Y because you don't know how. Well, by belonging to a forum like Rapid Leverage, you're going to be able to increase the services you can offer because you're going to learn how to do it. And it doesn't mean you have to be the person doing it. We can teach you how to outsource. We can teach you how to build a team around you. And we can teach you how to find people who are professionals in those areas so you can leverage their skills and increase your services to your current clients.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So that's, pretty much why we've launched the forum, is to help other business owners who want to learn how to implement these strategies into their businesses. It's to help internet marketers learn how to advise their clients better. And ultimately, it's to create a mastermind group for all of us to leverage from each other's experience, each other's contacts, each other's beliefs and the strategies and all the sort of stuff we all do individually in our businesses. If we combine them and sort of cherry pick the bits that we want to use for ourselves, then all of our businesses will grow rather than a few of us getting successful. The whole point of this is for all of us to become successful rather than just a few people. And that's what our passion is. And that's what embodies the Rapid Leverage brand going forward when we start launching new products as well. So that's essentially why we've launched the forum. So Aaron, do you want to tell us a little bit about what the forum is essentially? What is it for? I mean, we've talked about what it's for and why we've launched it, but what is it? What can people get from the forum?
Essentially, the forum is going to be a place that we can come in and discuss the latest strategies, issues, or anything that's on our mind to do with online marketing. But it also goes further than that. We've got people in there now that are talking about how to pitch to clients, how they know how to structure a deal to them. And these are really important as well, because we can learn different strategies such as how to drive traffic to our website. But once we get that phone call and someone rings us up, we need to know how to land the deal as well. So that's why Rapid Leverage is really all about conversions as well. And what we'll be doing is we're encouraging members to share their knowledge and expertise. And we touched on this earlier, because by them sharing their own knowledge or their own experiences, it just means we're going to grow our knowledge base so much quicker. It's also going to enable people to implement these strategies. So once you've learnt them, you take them away and you put them back into your own business. And that's really important. I can give you a gym membership and I can buy you one for Christmas, but unless you actually get down to that gym, nothing's going to change. And I think I was with you the other day, Suraj, when we were watching something online, and there was a statistic, something like 74% of people that buy internet marketing products don't do anything with them. And so this is why it's going to be really important that once you are a member and you're inside, you're actually implementing. And I think that's important.
I think, our sort of three key pillars for the forum are, and you saw this on the front page when people signed up, is that networking, learning, and implementing. Those three things are what the forum is. That's what, if you were to define the Rapid Leverage Forum, it's about networking, where you can meet like-minded people, share your contacts, and ask for contacts and introductions. That's what networking is all about. It's a place where you learn the strategies and learn the bits that you don't know. Start that again. Learn the things that you need to implement into your business that will get you the results, or whether that means more clients, more opt-ins, more sales, more inquiries, more newsletter signups, whatever it might be. The strategies are there for you to learn, where we're going to be pulling resources from all over the place, from our contacts, putting them in there for the members who will be able to leverage that, because they won't need to find that information themselves. And like you said, and just to touch on that again, the most important part of all of this is the implementing. It's the bit where you take what you've learned and you actually go and do it in your business. Exactly like you said with the gym. Anyone can have a gym membership, but the people that are going to get fit are those that are going to go down to the gym and implement or use essentially the machines, the weights, or if they go to a class, or if they get a fitness instructor or a fitness book even, to implement what they're learning in there, and that's what's going to get them the results. So we've talked about networking, learning, and implementing. Aaron, do you want to touch on how we're going to help people achieve those three objectives of learning things, of networking with other people, and implementing things? I think you touched on it already in terms of sharing our knowledge and encouraging other people to share. But also, how else are we going to help facilitate this?
We're also going to be doing things like we're going to set up weekly Skype chats where if you add us on Skype, we'll just give you a random call on a Tuesday. We're calling it Telephone Tuesdays, Skype Tuesdays, and we can just get in touch and just see how you're doing. And that's really important. If you're online and we see you, we can have a quick chat with you and make sure you're doing all right. We're also starting to look at the Google Plus Hangout. And that's going to be another area where we can all go and network together, once a week or once a month. Whenever it suits, we can just get online and just chat, just share the latest strategies that are going on, because that face-to-face sort of recognition is always really good, or hearing the voice, as well as, the typing inside the forum. It's all powerful, combining it together. And also, by belonging in the forum, you may get expert advice from us, you may get expert advice from other people, but also it's honest, because we're keeping you coming back each week or each day. We're in there every day talking to you. You're talking to each other, so it's all a strong community. It's all good, honest advice, and it's all strategies that you can feel safe with to walk away and implement it in your business. So that accountability on us to you guys as members in the community is really important, and that's exactly how we're going to achieve it.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I think it's also great for support, and from our point of view, treat the forum like a support forum, or as if you were subscribed to some sort of support center, because this is very relevant to what we do outside of the forum in terms of our workshops and seminars and public speaking. People come to our workshops, and it's a disservice from us to send them out there to implement and learn more stuff by themselves. That's where the forum comes in to support you, and that's how most people will actually get the results they need to get, because by asking us the questions and asking the community questions, that will crystallize anything that you are learning or you've got questions about, and that's exactly what it's for, the support. And that's a big thing for me as well personally, is I hate products or workshops where you go there and then there's no support afterwards. You don't know who to call or who to email or who to get in touch with if you've got a quick question. And the reason we put it in a forum is as leverage on our time. And I'm sure everyone listening on this call will understand that. You can appreciate hundreds and hundreds of people that come through the workshops. If everyone sent me an email asking one or two questions, that's not good leverage of my time. And I can guarantee that a bunch of those people will have the same questions. So rather than each one answering each one individually, the answer in the forum can help everyone. And even those who are a bit too shy to ask the question outright will probably be thankful that someone asked the question and the answer is there for them to look at or to read or to watch the video or whatever the answer may be. And that's like, do you remember at school when they say, don't be shy to put your hand up and ask a question, because chances are somebody else is probably thinking the same thing. And there are no dumb questions or no silly questions at all. You just got to ask them. And like you said, Aaron, at the beginning of this webinar, this is a safe environment. There's no sort of judging or anything like that where you're going to feel that you can't ask a question, whether it's a really basic question or a really advanced question. It's a safe environment. We're all friends in the forum, and that's how it should be treated.
And do you have a screenshot there we can go to just to show sort of what's going on in the forum?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see on your screen now, I've got a quick screenshot of the forum, some of the different categories of the forum. And on this particular screenshot, you can see video marketing, blogging, SEO, keyword research, pay-per-click, list building, affiliate marketing, some IT and technical stuff, because we all have technical issues now and then. There's a specific area of the forum to ask those questions. And yeah, this is just one screenshot, and you can scroll up and down and find the relevant section of the forum where you want to learn something from, or if you've got a problem, ask it in the right section, and you'll get an answer relatively quickly, either from us or from other people in the community who are better placed to answer something than we are. So that's how we are planning to facilitate your learning, your networking, and your implementing through this forum, and that ties it up quite nicely as we sort of come to the end of this webinar. That's exactly what we're going to do. It's up to you then to take the information, be really selfish, and that's absolutely fine. Be selfish, and take the information and implement it into your businesses, so that you go and make the successes or make the profits and the sales that you've always wanted, and that will make everyone a happier member to see other people's success stories. And that's another thing. Share your success stories if you get them, because everyone wants to be inspired by those as well. And I think before we sort of wrap it up, I've always followed the principle of, as a teacher, and I call myself a teacher because I teach internet marketing strategies, I always want my students to do better than me. So I'm always giving the same information and the same ideas that I'm using myself. I'm not holding anything back, because I want my students and people who I teach and learn from me to go out there and actually go one step ahead of me and do it even better. That's almost, every teacher's dream is for their students to become very, very successful. So that's where I'm coming from. And Aaron, do you want to add anything as we close up?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess there's always going to be people that come in that they're not going to utilise it correctly, or they'll want to know more information. So obviously, we're giving away free trials so people can get inside, so they can learn the different areas inside, and they can actually start to feel the benefits and reap the rewards, because that's the purpose of it. And we're also going to look at doing monthly webinars. We were going to provide invaluable information, and this could be webinars with multi-million-dollar experts in certain industries, right down to the person who's already in the community, who we get them online and we talk to them because they're making, they're doing the right things, and they've got knowledge that they can share with similar people on the same field. And we're also going to look at doing bonuses. Like if people are staying in for a longer period of time, then we're going to do bonuses at different stages in the membership. And because yourself, Suraj, and I were currently releasing different products all the time to do with different internet marketing strategies. So these will get rolled out over, certain membership levels and things like that. Yeah, what about yourself? You got anything else you want to finish off on?
Just on that note, actually, of the bonuses, we've got a system that will automatically know how long you've been a member for, and based on certain milestones, you will receive a very nice surprise either by email or in the post. So as long as we've got your mailing address, we'll post you out a gift as a bonus, not just as a thank you for being a member type of gift, but something that can help you in your business the longer you're a member. And those gifts and bonuses will of course grow in value over time. And it's just our way of giving you more value to help you in your business. That's not just on the forums. If we post you something in the mail, it will be something that you can use in your business, whether you're going networking or whether you're using it for a webinar or whatever it might be. So it's not all just about the forum, helping you on the forum. It's about helping you overall as well in your businesses offline. So keep an eye out for something in the post, and who knows, those bonuses will change all the time, and they can be products, and our contacts will want to give you access to their products as well over time. So that's the kind of stuff we'll be giving out. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it from what I wanted to say. We sort of created this webinar just to give you an overview of why we created the forum, a little bit of background about who we are, why we created the forum, what you can expect once you're inside, and how we're going to help you achieve what you want to achieve based on our our networking, learning, and implementing core ethos. That's what it's all about. So I hope you've had a good time on this webinar. It'll be available for downloading in the forum where you're watching this. If you've got any questions, send one of us a message or put it in the forum as always, and start implementing stuff. And that's what it's all about, I guess, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think one more sweetener just to remind people about the importance of belonging to a community like this is it is an affiliate product. So you can actually go out and get people to sign up to the forum through your link. And what that's going to mean is essentially, based on how it's set up today, bring in 3 people and your membership's free. So if you want to learn more about how affiliate marketing works or where you get your link from, go to the affiliate section up the top inside the forum, and it teaches you exactly what you need to do. But you might have your current clients that you think would benefit from inside here. You may have a sister or a husband or someone else in business that needs to learn these strategies. Well, get them inside and make yourself money while you're at it.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Aaron, and to everyone listening on this webinar, we'll see you inside the forum.